Nigerians who join.
Viewers around the world, you are welcome. Between the lines, News Echoes Monday update, and we are glad to be here. We weren't here last week, but we're here today. And normally, I do this with my colleagues, coordinators from different parts of the world. Joining me far away, Lagos, Nigeria, is Olayinka Raji. Raji, you're welcome.
Good evening, sirs. Yeah, nice to be back, man.
Nice to be back, Raji. It's good to see you. Yes. Yeah. Also joining with us here is our beautiful diva, Fiona Kuno. Fiona from UK, London, UK. Fiona, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Good evening, sirs.
Good evening, Fiona.
Yes, guys, we're here between the lines. Viewers, you are tuned into our Monday update. Between the Lines is our lively conversation program we do every Monday, 8 p.m. Nigerian time. We give real-time updates as it affects we Africans all over the globe. So today we're here to give our update. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. The number is really heating up, guys. The numbers are heating up. You're welcome, everybody. Okay. Gentlemen, Raji, it's good you're there. It's good you're in Lagos. Yes. It's good you're going to give us some updates. What's happening? As at about 30 minutes ago, the violence and the rampage still continues. We had 4 Nigerian army soldiers, army officers, and 12 soldiers have been killed in Delta State. And there has been that reprisal attack. We don't know what's happening, Raji. Can you bring us to speed? What's going on?
I'm really saddened by the situation in the Niger Delta. The situation where some villagers killed 6 of our army officers, 4 officers, and 12 rank and file. It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. More unfortunate is the reprisal attacks that has unfortunately taken place. We've seen gory pictures of death of people shot and all manner of things. I've had to look at those pictures more zoom in to look at those pictures more effectively, and they give different information, but the fact that there have been some form of reprisal is very saddening to me, which brings us to the point of where, as much as possible, we have to keep the military out of civil engagement so that they can face their primary responsibility of defending the territory against external aggression. When the military is deployed internally, the people become the enemy because they are training. The enemy, the army is trained to face enemies, and whoever you direct their attention to become the enemy of the state. It is not right for the military to be too predominant in civil engagement. They are not trained for that. And I think the government should do something about gradually withdrawing the military from civilian engagement.
Thank you, Raji.
Can avoid all these things. Yes,
Raji, a lot to discuss here, and it's good you're there for us. But before we go ahead, let's welcome our man from Moscow, Russia. This is their season. We're celebrating with Russia. Godwin Ibe, you're welcome, Dr. Godwin.
Thank you for having me.
Good.
Thank you, viewers.
We are in that euphoria of what's happening. So you're coming in. It's real handy. You're coming at the right time.
What euphoria are you talking about?
Don't worry, we'll come to that. George Chukwu is all the way from Well, Toronto, Canada. Sir George, you're welcome to Between the Lines.
You're welcome. My
It
pleasure.
seemed afraid to mention the euphoria.
Oh, God.
Okay, gentlemen,
Landslide victory.
yes, landslide victory. Gentlemen, let's go back to what we're discussing. It's the situation, very pathetic situation, gruesome situation. I mean, I have some clips here. We're not putting them out. Censorship and all that could affect us, but you don't want to see what I have here happening in Delta State, Nigeria, Bayelsa State, Nigeria, outside of Nigeria is burning right now. Soldiers are giving back a reprisal attack on innocent citizens, presumably that said they claim these ones are not the ones that have probably killed the soldiers. We know they did something wrong in those places, but I mean, you don't start killing innocent people anyhow. Fiona, you are from Delta. What's your uptake on this? I know you're following the story too.
Yes, I am. So it's obviously very sad. It's okay. It's very sad, and there's absolutely no excuse for the murder or the slaying of the military personnel that were deployed there on a peacekeeping mission. That there have been quote unquote reprisal attacks by the military is not something that I am surprised about, unfortunately. While it's not the right thing to happen, I think in conversations I've had over the last few days, we expected it. I mean, the first person that told me about it, he said we're actually calling family members that live in that kind of area to just disappear from town because we felt that it may lead to this kind of breakdown of the situation that we're seeing right now. So really all I can express at this moment is my condolences to the slain officers and the personnel, and of course all the people that have lost their lives subsequent in the reprisal attacks. And at the moment I can't really say much because I have quite a few people that are in the midst of proceedings.
The crisis.
Thank you, Fiona. Thank you. Gentlemen, a cable just came in now. It says part of a town called Okwama community in Ughelli South local government area of Delta State, where the soldiers were killed, has been raised down by unknown person. They say they are unknown person now. Meanwhile, the manhunt for the killers of the military personnel is still ongoing. Some arrests have been made by the soldiers. Our man, the officer commanding division, 6th Division, Nigerian Army, Major General Jamal Abdul Salam, is giving updates as we're talking right about now. The president has also said that what happened is terrible. He said those that have perpetrated this dastardly act will not go unpunished. Before I come to George, Sir Godwin, how do you copy this from your end?
It's sad. But I don't want to sound like a broken record. Everyone already knows that it's terrible, and my heart goes out to the victims, both the soldiers side, the military side, and the civilian side. But it's exacerbation of a problem that has been there. It's just an acute conflagration of the underlying chronic problem, and that's the gross lack of security architecture, anemic surveillance and reconnaissance, poor intelligence, poverty, aggravating factors such as poverty and joblessness. These are the foundational problems, and once in a while, there will be exacerbations that present themselves in this way. We know that there are solutions to it. Like instead of spending billions of dollars on helicopters, you could buy cheap drones. You recruit more intelligence staffs instead of buying maybe jeeps and furniture allowance. For example, you could buy more radio equipment and helmet for stormtroopers. And you could organize artillery to something up target before stormtroopers to reduce the life of our of our soldiers and police so that they can do their job, because they are human beings too as well. And also the mismanagement of power, which we see in the force, in terms of when something happens to a soldier, it is not seen as an individual that committed a crime, but it's seen as those bloody civilians. And then the revenge, when you have that kind of mentality that it doesn't matter who did it, as long as it's a civilian, it's a bloody civilian, then the revenge will affect all civilians. And that's what we see. It's a problem that can easily be solved in serious countries like Niger. They know how to solve their problems. You get a PMC, or if you don't know how to judiciously spend money on the right architecture, we are not the first country to face insurgency, unrest, but there are countries that have been able to put it under choke and hold, and put it this way.
Thank you very much, Godwin. Thank you. Gentlemen, this whole incident brings a reminiscence of what happened in 1999, November 20th, 1999. A town called Udi in same Bayelsa State was attacked. They actually attacked some soldiers. Similar thing. And what now happened was terrible. A massacre of a whole town. Udi town in Bayelsa State came under attack because there were issues that time. George, I'm bringing this to you. I know you followed that story then. Your principal then was the president of the country, Olusegun Obasanjo, and Vice President Atiku. The indigenous people of Udi said they had a right to their oil resources, and they wanted protection. But things turned out not too good, and there was a massacre. Until today, that town is still grappling from, trying to get back their life. George, how will you put this together? Is this how it should be when citizens complain or citizens make some observation and the government comes in? Before you know, there's a fight, there's killing, the reprisal attack, there's a massacre. George, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, beautiful. Listen, this is one of, concerning OD by Elsa. It's called ODI. And listen, what happened in that time, during that time, even the ex-president, I spoke with him personally, and I did interview him, which never aired, about this particular situation. And I asked him a question. I said, today, if that thing were to happen, like it did happen in the past, would you do anything differently? And he said, no. I said, why would you say so? A lot of people died, and a lot of people, a lot of, innocent civilians were killed. I said, yes, I do know. But if you were sitting where I was sitting and know exactly how they massacred the military men that are supposed to keep law and order in our nation, and they killed the police, I sent the police, they killed them, I sent the army, and they fought them and killed a lot of them. I had no choice. And the problem that I had then was that, the indigenous people of that land were actually protecting those militants. So, I had to do what I had to do. Now, the problem we have today, and I heard, Raji was talking about, that military men ought not to be doing stuff like this. I completely agree with that. The reason why you're seeing what you're seeing, these people are trained to kill. They ought to be dealing with the federal issues, international issues, not local internal issues. And this is why a lot of people that are advocating for local police is supposed to be listened to. Because having a state police, force allows more local law enforcement. And it tells specifically to the community needs. They are quicker to come when, situations happen. Their response rate is supposed to be quicker and faster. And then what happens is they deal with situations because most state police people will come from that area. So they know the area better than these federal police or, the military that are coming in. So you see a lot of advantages that are, there for us to engage in discourse regarding doing a state police rather than this federal centered in one area, and then there are so many situations that take place. Now, the question to us is this: those people that actually did this, most of them, having known that something like this will happen, will escape. Most of them will escape, and you end up not even killing any one of those people, because they know the danger of killing, and just just kill, the kind of killing that they did and dismember these people, their bodies all over the place. That is stroking the core of that military might to come against you and everybody around you. So that is the catastrophic event that we are facing with today. So to me, I think that one of the major issues that we are lacking, and I was just listening to Dr. Ibe. Dr. Ibe, it's not that our people are ignorant. I'm being honest with you. They know what to do. They are aware of it. When you talk to them, they realize that some of these things that you are mentioning are the solutions to our issues. For instance, buying equipments and all that kind of stuff. When money is not allocated to buy those equipments, what happens from that point where the money is allocated until it comes down? You begin to see that the things that they will bring into that country will be like, the final grade of Chinese production. 45 minutes after, it will just disintegrate and melt away. This is exactly what I experienced it myself. I did.
Yes,
so
you did. You told me about this. Yes, George,
So,
good one. George, good one. Because we are many and because there's so much to cover, let's bring in our wonderful coordinator from Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey. We have Nyama Benson.
Ekon. This is
You're
my first time
welcome
meeting
to
you.
the program. Turkey will be heading to the election, to the polls by the end of this month. We want to hear from you on the updates from your end. Can you hear us, Ms. Benson?
You're muted.
Yeah, I think she
Let me
network.
see.
We hope the African network issues didn't get to Turkey. Okay,
How can
gentlemen,
it?
before we go on, let's continue. So much to talk about. Again, bandits are on rampage. People, they are still drilling hard, moving very strong. In Kaduna again, there was a fresh attack yesterday evening in a small town called Kajuru. Kajuru had an attack, and several people were abducted. Now, how will this ever end, Fiona? Will the abduction in Nigeria end? I mean, what's our country turning to?
Well, I don't know that the abductions will ever end. But when I was going through the information about this story, I was actually quite interested to read that the president, Ahmed Tinubu, had said that they were not going to offer any ransoms, which would be their normal way of dealing with this situation, which took me by surprise, because I didn't realize that this was the ongoing cycle that we were in, that when they kidnap people, we give them a ransom, they bring them back, because that just seems to me a very neat way of a money-making situation that's going on. I thought it was far much more involved than just a ransom being demanded. So if it is a case that is a cycle of ransoms being demanded and being offered and going round and round and round, with the economic climate in the country, I can't imagine it will come to an end. Secondly, if there are bigger forces behind this than we know, I also think that it's just going to be a continuum. It's just going to keep going round and round and round until the powers that be decide that it has to come to an end. And I think if we go back to part of what Dr. Gordon was saying, when we have a security system that is completely inadequate and unfit for purpose, these kind of things are going to continue to perpetuate. I can't see the solution, how this is going to come to an end for now.
Bad ones. And
can I come in, Sam?
yes.
Max?
Okay, come in. Yes, I was coming to go ahead. Add to what you have.
It is quite strange to me that bandits can hold any community to ransom. And the thing can go on for more than 10 years without a solution to it. And in the first place, why should government negotiate with kidnappers, bandits, to be paying ransom?
It's crazy.
There's a Alaji Gumi who is supposed to be the go-between bandits and government to negotiate ransom. What kind of madness is that? And I want to go back to when the first kidnapping happened with the Chibok girls. A group of 100 young ladies were kidnapped from a school, and they made it a problem of the president. What happened from the local government to the state level? If 10 chickens were stolen from my village, 10 chickens were stolen from my village, the whole village will be up to look for the chickens. How much more human beings? There's some madness going on, and that madness should have to be nipped in the bud. When all these things happened, I will remember El-Rufai saying that they were paying bandits to stop killing Nigerians. What kind of madness is that?
So, sorry, can I just interject, sir? Sorry. You
Yes,
said something
please.
about nipping it in the bud. I think that the bud is, I don't think this is, we're talking something that's been going on for over 10 years. So there's no
It's
bud
way
in it.
Yes,
past
yes.
the board. It's way
It-
past
It
the
shall be nipped. It shall be nipped in the bud
It
when it
should have been,
started.
but the
It's
flowers
way,
are
it has passed that road.
And then it's the time now is calm, and I really like the way Tinubu has gone about it. That no more ransom, no more ransom. And if anything happens in the local government, let the people in the state and the local government take care of it.
Now,
You can't
you-
make it a presidential
you
problem.
brought up a figure. You brought up a figure, Dr. Godwin. Raju brought up a figure called a Kaduna-based Muslim cleric called Sheikh Ahmed Gumi. Now, Gumi has always been this go-between bandits and federal government. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine that?
You know, and now what he said the other day was Buhari, Tinubu should not act like Buhari. He should negotiate with bandits. Godwin, how do you hear this? I mean, this is what I said. Is not. I'm not making up. We're not making up story. I mean, Raji is here.
Yes, he said it.
No, I try to think from different perspectives. I feel the passion in what Raji said, but it's not realistic. It's just not realistic. Look, there's always tomorrow. Look, it's like when police comes to your house for investigation. They say, who did this? Who did that? Who did that? Well, you think, do I tell them? Do I not tell them? But you know that there's tomorrow. The police will soon leave, and then you have to leave the whole week without the police. And maybe the person who did it is your neighbor, for example. He's just looking at, well, just speak. Well, there's still tomorrow. I mean, what I'm saying is that the community who houses these bandits, they are not irrational actors. They're not irrational. They're not on weed. They are actually rational actors, and they are measuring the risk to return ratio. What would be the return if I take right or if I take left? Is there security for whistleblowers? Is the security architecture enough to protect them who blow the whistle? Is there a job for them? Would they be able to put food on the table if they do not cooperate with bandits? You should understand that in every area, for example, where the mafias take over, not just in Africa, everywhere in the world, the thing that the mafia does very well is to set up a business model. Immediately they go anywhere, they set up a business model where the residents actually gain based on their cooperation. So you cannot leave people in abject poverty. They cannot feed, no protection for whistleblowers. And then you expect them to not pay ransom and to, it's not realistic. You have to deal with everything from the foundation of the problem. I mean, it's good to be patriotic, to be like firebranding, but you have to think about the reality of these people's lives, because they would die. They would die.
George, you're observing this. Me and you talked on this the other time. I mean, how did this sound? Like Raji's telling us, these people are using our telecom, they are using our land space, they are in our territory, but they are
and they're
calling
using
the
our banks. They're using our banks to
They are
collect
using
their
our
Yes,
bank.
how did they get the
But
money?
Can you
calling the
imagine?
shots.
They
Are
will
they
know.
using
They
our
will
banks?
even know who leaked the information. They will know who leaked the
Okay.
information. They will know who
So-
confessed.
Then
Depending
thing
you're
is this.
confessing
look
to.
at this.
So
Look at this
the
scenario
state should
again, George.
capitulate.
Because
Gumi
No,
and
listen
you
to
have
this.
to
gentleman.
solve the problem.
Okay.
Look at
You have
this.
to face
Look
the
at this
reality
scenario.
first of all,
For the 10
and then
years,
solve the.
part
Look at
of
this
No,
the
scenario
solution
we
again.
is not
have
to
we
pay
have not made
ransom.
any
And they,
attempt.
okay, go ahead, Godwin. Go ahead. Sorry, I was continuing.
Okay, so what I'm
Raji, we have
no,
not. It's
I
like
was
we have.
talking.
Okay, sorry,
talking.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's okay. What I was saying is this, actually.
Mhm.
Now, we know that this situation that is happening in the north is not independent of the leaders. We know that. Whether we like it, let's tell ourselves the truth. Because to say my mom used to say as a child that now my child will say that I'm greater than you is just that we're just playing a joke. She used to tell me that. The point is this: if they want to, like what Raju was just saying, if they want to nip this in the bud, they know what to do and they know where to go. You see, some of these things that are happening in the schools are happening because of their agitation against education, or what you call Western education. That's one. Number two, it is some of the leaders that know what is really going on. Because if you really pay close attention, you begin to see the Northerners are agitating more now than but the past 8 years. True or false? Little thing that will happen, they will rise up and start questioning the leadership of Tinubu. So, in the same manner that they actually swore that Jonathan's administration they will make it ungovernable. That is exactly what you're seeing today. So, they're tolerating any Southerner being a leader in Nigerian space, that presidential space. So to me, it's so laughable because when we're looking at all these things and we're looking for, they know what the solutions are. And let me tell you, when intelligence, we bring in foreign influence right now, they are still communicating locally with our leaders who are in charge. They know who they are. So the question is, if we refuse now, it's almost like, you're going to bomb a house because a thief is there, like what's happening in Gaza right now, which I condemn completely. Innocent souls are being involved. They're being casualties. So how do we now separate the chaff from the wheat to make sure that these bandits and even the leaders that are involved, they will not allow you to come so close to stop this because they're benefiting from it? Would like it or not, that's the truth.
It's the truth.
And then we
It's
can
like,
say it. Go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
I use the example of a mafia system, right? You first of all, there's a business model that takes care of the poorest in the community. It's always certain. Then the oligarchs have their businesses that are linked to the mafia business model.
Okay.
So once this is cross-linked, the state apparatus is just a communication hub.
It's just a communication hub.
This
And
is
basically
not what's happening is not as organized as the mafia, and then they are kidnapping the children or the people in the community. So let the community take care of itself. Let the state take care of the community and leave the federal government out of it. The federal government is not going to pay any ransom henceforth.
are you too
It's not going to
concerned about
negotiate.
are you too concerned about
we-
the federal government or the people?
But
Who are you more concerned
It is the
about?
people. It's the people. If the people cannot take care of themselves, it's over to them.
Was the federal government? It was the federal government before
Gentlemen,
paying a ransom to these.
Listen,
Were they paying ransom?
distinguished panelists, great guys. You can't believe those numbers of people listening to you now. But we'll go on a small break, just small. So we come back because the issues on board is also Putin, Russia is celebrating. We're in that mood.
Russia.
The issue also on board is Nigerian budget being padded and the intricacies of all that. I mean, the pad budget in Nigeria. So let's come back. George, why are you laughing? What's funny about this?
Because I
Let's
got my
come back,
man. I
gentlemen.
got my man.
Some
I
good
got my
news
man.
also. Senegal has released the man, and we're coming to
Sonko.
talk about all of this. So see you on the other side. Viewers, you are tuned into our program called In Between the Lines. Between the Lines, Monday. Today is the 18th of March, 2024, and we are giving you gist between the lines. We'll be back.
Thinking like us who join
Viewers, you're back to Between Lines, and I'm here with my colleagues and coordinators from different parts of the world. Raji from Lagos, Nigeria, Fiona from London, UK, George from Toronto, Canada, and Godwin from Moscow, Russia. Godwin, let's come to you now. Yes, it finally happened. Let's see a clip of this before we come to the discussion.
thinking like us who join our efforts have come about the source, the origin of this word. So in Russian it means that in ancient Russia it was a soldier, it was a warrior. And this warrior hailed from common people, from the residents of Russian towns and Russian villages. And this person was not just a warrior, it was a militiaman. These were the people who defended their homeland, their motherland. These people thought about their homeland today and they thought about the future generations. Basically, back then they were thinking about us now. And now the history repeats itself because it's cyclical, so it's going up in spiral, but everything repeats itself. And all of us, we are standing here together like comrades in arms. So I would like to thank citizens of Russia, all of them, because we are one team. I would like to thank all the citizens of Russia who came to the polling stations and voted.
Beautiful. Gentlemen, Putin wins Russia presidential poll again. Putin will be there in the next 6 years, 6-year term. And he said something also. He's scorned at the United States democracy. You know, he claimed that Russia does do it better when it comes to elections and voting. So, but before Godwin will come in, let's hear you guys. Fiona, Putin will be here again with us for the next 6 years, and this means more engagement. We hope more open air engagements and beautiful relationship with different parts of the world. Fiona, what's your take on this?
I don't think the result of the election was anything unexpected. So I don't have any view on the results. I mean, anybody that's a winner should be congratulated. So our congratulations go to the winner. Obviously, I think relations between Russia and the West have their, cycles of issues, and obviously with this ongoing Ukrainian issue, I know that tempers are a bit fraught. I will just have to wait and see the outcome. I know that some statements have been put out in the press, but I'm not really quite. I'm sure Dr. Gordon will be able to help us with all those statements about whether it was actually said or implied, etc., etc. Just it's talking about a third world war and things like that. So I mean, we're just going to watch this space as we always do when it comes to Russia, really, and see what the next X amount of years brings. So yeah, that's just my opinion on it. Yeah. We can't hear you, Massive.
We can't hear you, Mark.
Sorry for that. Yes, Putin said a lot. 71 years old Putin was never in doubt with his opponent. But there's something he said. There are some words he used that I like, and he scorned at Americans. He scorned at the United States. George, you've been laughing about this all the while. I don't know why. So what's your take on
the reason why I'm laughing is because we have a president in our country today, which we ended up congratulating, regardless of the way he came into power. Okay. So like I say, strong men don't last. They don't come behind. So we know before the election what the result will be, and then the result is that. So we congratulate him. If 87% or 83% of the population is saying, we support you, we want your leadership, whether it's by open, fair election or by fear or whatever the case might be, as in the case in our country, we are outside of that country. So I can't go in there and say, okay, hey, why did you vote for such and such a person? Absolutely. So maybe this is what they used to and they like it. So who are we to condemn them? I cannot. So all I'm saying is congratulations, Emperor Putin, because that's exactly a democratic and elected emperor, who uses his power and everything muscle that he has. The man doesn't age. Oh, can you see how handsome this man is looking every time?
Are you sure it's real Putin?
I like that. I like that. So congratulations, Putin.
That's right.
What can you say?
Congratulations to you. Raji, go ahead. You were saying something.
Yes,
before Raji goes,
I add my congratulations to
Raji. Sorry, our Turkey correspondent is here again. Basin, can you hear us? Can you? We hope the African network issue is not coming up to Turkey.
You can hear us.
I can hear you now.
Good. Because we need you to give us updates. Turkey is going to the polls by the end of this month, and we need to hear what's going there. So let's come to you later. Raji, go ahead now.
Yes, I add my congratulations to Putin, and I want to assert that Putin or Russia does not need validation from anybody about their government.
Absolutely.
I was hearing some whimpers from Britain. Britain is growing out of its britches and wanting to behave as if it is still a world power. But I don't see why they should even make any comment about what's happening in Russia.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. So congratulations, Putin. Maybe he will do a 7th term, and we are all behind him.
But let me come a little bit stronger now. Godwin,
yes.
There are videos of soldiers going to into the polling booths and watching people vote. There are countless of those videos. Now, in a democratic atmosphere, nobody comes to you when you're voting. It's you and your ballot paper. Nobody checks on your paper. It's with you and your conscience. So we have those videos, but we're not playing them because of
Please
time.
play them. Play them. Let the people see and judge.
Yes.
Videos.
Okay, we usually don't like. We in Russia, we like evidence being displayed.
No. I don't think. No.
Yes.
No.
It's because of
Are you
time.
sure you want to do that? Are you sure?
Okay, but go ahead while the studio brings it in. Go ahead while the studio brings it in. Go ahead.
Let me just say something. Let me say something.
Okay. Go ahead, George.
Okay. The hypocrisy of governance internationally is really what is, making a lot of countries and a lot of places, so angry and so unsure of what they want to do.
Exactly.
We remember the likes of the Libya, Gaddafi. We remember the likes of Saddam Hussein. We remember some of these, what we call today dictators. They call them dictators, who were actually being, well fed and fatted up by some North American, people. Why was it? Because they're able to control their nations. You see, democracy is a style of government. It's not the only type of government that fits all. There are some places you will go to. You don't need a democratic type of government. If Russia is prospering in their way, because this is the type of thing they used to, and they are actually enjoying, who are we to tell them otherwise? Many of these democratically, controlled countries, one thing, I think Putin should stop going for election. Let him be there until he's tired. There's no need, because this is actually, upholding the doctrine of Christ with the principles of Satan. There is no need for that. Just stay there and do your thing until you're tired. Let somebody else come in, because seriously, it's not democracy. The man is a strong man. He knows what he's doing, and he does it well. So, to me, let the democratic nations continue with their own democracy and try to make it better than what it has been. Because all this nonsense we are doing, go to Nigeria. Nigerians do not elect their president. They don't elect their president. It is all written. It is decided ahead of time whether we like it or not. This is true.
Is that so? Are you talking about the Nigeria that I know?
Let's stay on the topic. Let's stay on the topic. I listen to everyone. Can I comment now? I listen to everyone patiently. I thank you so much for the kind words, especially in this sensitive moment, election and post-election moment in Russian Federation. Obviously, I'm not the subject of the kind words, but being a resident in Russia and hearing those nice things said about Russia is quite good. I would like to say that the Indian Prime Minister congratulated Putin on his victory in the election and expressed hope for further strengthening of the partnership. The Emir of UAE also congratulated Belarus, and China congratulated Putin, North Korea so far, and more
These
congratulations
BRICS people, though.
BRICS people, yes. BRICS people are more pouring in at this moment. President Putin won the election with 87% of the vote. I mean, this is like clear. Everyone agrees, East and West. But the turnout was the most important thing. It was over 75. I think it was 77%.
Wow, that's
77%. Yes, I think
that's great.
even before the election, the Western press said they expect about 75% and 75%. I mean, imagine someone who says that there's no democracy, but we expect 75% turnout. So it's like contradictory, isn't it? But here we got like 77% turnout for the presidential election. There were two. Before I go on, I, as the chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Organization, on behalf of all Nigerians, we congratulate President Putin on his landslide victory, and I hope that it will bring more progress and more cooperation between Russia and Africa. The large turnout in Russia was based on two factors. The first being the desire to make a point based on the broad sanctions on Russians who do not see why they are punished. And then secondly, the reasons for the sanctions were based on decisions taken by their president who they believed were in national interest. Every country has their national strategic interest, and obviously when all citizens rally around their leader when they are doing things in national interest. Also, Russia has a long history of citizens rallying around their leaders when there's any sense or perception of external aggression. It didn't start with Russia since the Soviet Union, with earlier ancient Russia. Once there's any perceived threat, external threat, all internal disagreements disappear. And so anyone who had any knowledge of history would not have understood that sanctions and external pressure was very counteractive to the stated goals of regime change. Also, we had international observers from all around the world, including from Africa. Senegal was opportune to be an international observer, and they expressed satisfaction, and they even claimed that they're ready to use Russia's experience to introduce an electronic voting system in the country's presidential election. This was stated by Salio Sambo, representative of the Senegalese Human Rights Commission. Um, the, the the thing I want to note is that there are some things that are good from this election which you can really apply in Africa. There were no glitches, no server were down. You can do it from your mobile phone. You can lay on your bed, just click buttons, maybe 3, 4 buttons, and you're done. You've picked up your candidate. There was enough promotion. Like if you go on so many websites, billboards, there's active promotion. There was no Capitol Hill insurrection. There was no. I know I have to state it. There was no. There was no violence by military. Mark mentioned observers, military observing, but he didn't mention any aggression. There's no physical aggression. And then the another thing to note is that Russians outside of Russia, in Transnistria, Moldova, and in Lagos, Nigeria, voted in the election and voted. Many of them are pro-Putin. I know some of them. They voted from their mobile phone in Lagos for President Putin. And such kind of voting system did not require PVC or bimodal Kinikon. Yes, and I was specifically using the language to highlight the contradiction. It didn't require all those heinous and tedious methods of operation. Well, we can say, well, Russia has a lot of experience in this electoral process, but nonetheless, and it also tells us that diasporans can vote. Russians in diaspora voted. Why can't Nigerians in diaspora vote? So there's a lot of positive things we can take from this electoral process, and instead of being lost in all the geopolitical battle, we should think about what can we take out of this. Senegal came and they have taken electoral system back home that they are planning to. Other people are coming and taking what you can take. So I think we have a lot of cooperation to do in this sector, and I hope for better cooperation between
what's happening to
Russia and Nigeria.
So,
but okay.
I think there's been a problem from the Milan end.
Max.
These are the videos. I'm sorry, I think Mac has had a problem with his device. I think the video that in there.
He was trying to play the video. I think he was trying to reach the video to play it. I mean, I mean, what I saw in the video basically is police. It's someone who was in the voting booth for a long time, and then he went in and said, and he spoke Russian. Tishto, what are you doing? He wanted to know exactly what he was doing. He wasn't there telling him, whether there's a problem. You're there for too long. Hope you're not doing anything or even snatching ballot or any of that stuff. He even spoke it there exactly. What are you doing? That's what he asked there. There was no record of violence. There was no record of both verbal and physical altercation. But obviously, instead of focusing on preventing Capitol Hill insurrections, they could blow something as little out of proportion to try to highlight something. But I mean, it's just tactics, and this external aggression and interference, it only goes to strengthen the resolve among the Russian people to give Putin another term. I don't see how it works in the interest of the external actors. But I was looking for evidence. I haven't seen any evidence.
So anyway, I don't think there should be. I don't think there is any evidence, and I don't think you can find any evidence.
Absolutely,
none whatsoever, because Let me tell you something. When you have the fear of God, even when you are in your room, there are things you could have done outside the, the views of others that you will not do when you're in your toilets because you have the fear of God. So the fear of Putin is there for real. The man is in control of the nation and he controls it very well. Listen to me. I'm not saying it as being a sarcastic in my own. I prefer a good democracy when it does exist.
Of course.
The kinds that we are practicing in Africa right now, it is not, I don't call that democracy. Okay.
Sorry, can I just interject, gentlemen?
Yes.
Dr. Godwin, Massive Mark has asked if you can bring him into the studio from your end.
Yes, I surely can. Mark, are you here now?
I mean, you guys should know when things go wrong. I've been calling on you, Godwin. Thank you, Godwin, for that update. Yes, that was one of the videos. It's supposed to, there are about 3 of it anyway. Soldiers checking people in the polling booths. But you've put all the questions to rest. That's okay. In other news, let's go down now. Let's talk about the padding, budget padding, gentlemen. 2016 introduced a phenomenon in Nigeria politics and in our finance, our budget, and it's a word called budget padding. Now what's that crazy thing? It sounds nice to the ears, but it's actually a very, very scandalous way of doing governance. It's a concept of putting overpricing, overplacing, inflating the budget into trillions and trillions of naira so that some people also can gain out of this whole thing. So they inflate all the prices of things, they pad it, they do all this. Ms. Benson, you are a teacher and you understand economics and you know some of this whole system in Nigeria before coming to Turkey. What do you know about budget padding? There's a big hullabaloo going on in the House now. In fact, the senator that blew the whistle has been suspended. There's like a fight between different senators, a PDP, one political party with the other. This one say they are exposing it because it's not them that is in power. This one say they've been doing that also. It's a normal thing governors do. All kind of crazy talk. Ms. Benson, help us here. You're an economist too. What's happening with the budget and padding?
It's really sad that Nigeria has gotten to that level of that level. It's really sad. It's become more like a lifestyle for Nigerians. Like even as a Nigerian, we do that. Even as a Nigerian, we do that. I hear there was a time where somewhere, I think in Nigeria, my governor in Akwa Ibom State, where he said he wanted to build a road, and the money they were getting, hearing someone saying that for the contract that they will buy cars for his people, his wives, his children, and then the remaining money will be used. It will not be enough to complete the project, and the project will be left hanging. So it's really like become a norm for politicians to use in Nigeria. It's really become a norm. Of course,
it is become a norm, gentlemen. You're hearing it. She is coming from Nigeria. She's been there during her youth service years and some other things. She was in governance, that corridor of administration. Pardon, Raji, I heard you saying something the other time. The budget is padded, and actually, what I found out is sometimes budgets are intentionally padded to in case there will be increase in the price of goods and services. But in our case, senators do it, politicians do it to favor themselves. So it's a criminal offense. It's all about corruption that we've been talking about. Raji, you were saying some things the other time. What's this budget padding?
I don't think it's new. I think it's always been there. But as our budgets have grown from a few billions to now trillions, there's now a whole quantum difference between the pardon of maybe 40 billion against the pardon of 2 trillion. You know, until I left, honestly, until I left university, my counting probably stopped at billions. Now we are throwing trillions around as if we are counting from 1 to 10. The figures are humongous. Now, what happened with this pardon is that they are all the things that the executive can actually audit out of the budget. Because it is one thing for the executive to present a budget and for the National Assembly to add certain other elements to the budget and then pass it. Now, when it comes to the executive is not under any obligation to completely do whatever it is that the National Assembly has done. But then, because there's a hand-to-hand interaction between the executive and the National Assembly, they are just pardoning each other and helping each other along. As for the suspension of the senator,
of our economy and
the people,
citizen of the people,
they don't have the interest of the people at heart.
Sir George,
yes.
When we heard of the pardon thing, it was a whistleblower that came out and said it loud and clear and said, listen, this is what's happening. He doesn't care what happens. And that's the Senator Nigi. Nigi, yes, Nigi is a Nigerian Senate member, but from the other party called PDP. He's been serving as a senator representing Bauchi Central Senatorial District since 2011. Now, he said this whole thing, but what they would say was because he is from the opposition party. And they muted Mike, they suspended him, and now
suspension is illegal.
Yes, the case is like keep it on the low, you know.
Well, listen.
This is an EFCC case. Go ahead.
Listen.
Go ahead, George.
Pardon is a normal political process in what they do. They do it all the time. You go to America, go to their house. Some people, Republicans or Democrats, can actually, bring certain bills, and then within that bill, they will put other things, and they will put conditions so that when you accept one, you accept the rest. That's what they do. But the point in Nigerian situation is this: number one, that somebody calls out this thing is being suspended from the Senate, tells you that we don't have democracy in that country. That's one. Number two, if he's calling attention to it and everybody is ganging up against them, because all they're trying to do is to protect themselves. They don't think about you, the welfare of the communities. No, this man might have come out, pointing out an error that has been going on for many years. And then all of a sudden he's being demonized because he's from PDP. The point has been happening. Is it because that all of a sudden in Tinubu's administration, all eyes are on the government right now? During Buhari's administration, how many times? They don't even argue about all those things. They just take whatever that is. Have you ever seen them argue about any budget during Buhari administration? I've never seen it before. So right now, the microscope is, there is, eyes on the way that the nation is being governed because somebody is from the South. Now, that person who came to say this thing knows the reason, because it's true. They've been doing it for so many years. And there are other avenues that they also use to siphon money from the communities. So, really, the thing that angered me about the whole entire process is because they ganged up against this man and suspended him. That's the only thing that, angered me. I wasn't too surprised that was happening.
Yes, they ganged up against him. And Godwin, you take the last take on this. Budget padding. Fiona, do you have something to talk about that?
No, let Dr. Godwin go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, it's just pure stealing, theft, to just giving baptismal names. But I will argue that budget padding is better than what Buhari did in terms of printing money by the CBN. Because you're not just stealing money, but you're creating structural inflation. which goes which goes on to affect millions of lives and raises the prices of everything significantly, hyperinflation, and also maybe unaccounted notes in the system. Some types of stealing can be worse than others, but they're all different types of stealing. And I'm not sure we are really very serious in that country in terms of fighting corruption and bringing. Maybe people don't know that we are not. That South Africa has overtaken Nigeria recently in GDP. Again, I hope you are aware. We
Yes,
are
I
not
had
really
that this
living
morning.
like this, like the giant of Africa.
We're going to come talk about that on Friday. I had that too, Godwin. Godwin, thank you very much. Let me hear Fiona. We have few seconds to go. We don't have much time now. But Fiona, our country is budget padding, gentlemen. Like George said, it's done. Actually, it's done. In the West, they do it. But in our case, the politicians are doing it for their own benefit. It has nothing to do with oversight, and it is just for their own good. You know, Fiona, your country is padding budget so the ministers can buy houses in Swiss and UK, come to Canada and buy homes and buy Range Rovers and the rest. That's all they're doing this for. Tell us, Fiona.
Yes, it is. I mean, 3.7 trillion is a lot of money. And it is what it is. So yes, we know that budget padding happens across the board, and we know the reasons why. It's usually because of inflation, cost of things, etc., etc. But in our case, as with most things, when it comes to using economic models to do things, our own country just flies in the face of regularity. So it's just another thing that we do. That's just the way we do our thing. So
the way we do our thing. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Lady Fiona, quickly, let me just make a point here. Let me make a point. I like the way you put her on that hot seat. Your country is padding their budget. Go ahead.
So Ms. Benson, what's new with Turkey? Turkey is going to the polls on I think 29th March.
No, on the 31st of
31st.
March.
Good.
Yes. Okay. The voting on that day is for the metropolitan and municipality cities. Okay. And it's going to be taking place on the 31st of March. Where cities like Istanbul, Ankara, Izmir, Mersin, Osmaniye will be having their elections. I think the ruling party, which is the AK party, is they have people like the Murat Kurum, that's for Istanbul, and Hamza Da, Izmir, Arkan, that's just it.
Yes. We'll get some of the pictures of these candidates late in our Friday program. So we're monitoring the Turkey election. We're with you. Please keep us updated. Let's know what's happening. Turkey is an integral part of the world. Yes. Are you voting?
I won't be voting. I don't have I'm eligible to vote. And also, another news is that Turkey also has been deporting a lot of irregular migrants, like since 2023 till now. It's in large numbers. I think it's 30,000 plus as of now. So that's another news update, and it's also for this election because there's it's like the migrants here that the ruling party brought in have been voting for the ruling party, and the people do not want the ruling party. The people of Turkey want, I think, what they call a massive revolution, and so they want to. Yes, they're trying to kick out, but they're not allowed to say that actually.
Okay, thank you very much. Now you're giving us some insight. Thank you, gentlemen. It's time to go. It's sad, but we have to go. There's so much to talk about, but let's go. We'll be back on Wednesday. Viewers, you have been listening to, you know what, guys? Our viewers, normally the numbers fluctuate as they watch, but we have our people talk, watching and listening and getting the Monday update from Between the Lines. Thank you, George, Toronto, Canada, for coming Monday Between the Lines. Thank you, Godwin, from Moscow, Russia. Thank you. Raji from Lagos, Nigeria, and our dear diva Fiona from the UK, London, UK, and you, Benson Ekong. Thank you for coming. So, guys, we'll be back on Wednesday.
Thank you.
We hope our devices don't have those hitches again. We have a lot to say, a lot to go through. So, you guys put your radars on, follow up the updates, and let's see what we have by Wednesday. We're following the abduction in Kaduna. We're following the story in Bielsa and Delta and all the reprisal attack. We're following also Putin's first week as the new the third term president of Russia. So, gentlemen, bye-bye. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thinking like us who join